3SFX presents the indoob podcast with your host, T. Sterling Watson.
Good morning, Indoobians. I'm T. Sterling Watson.
I'm Courtney Hinton.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Nick.
This is the Indoob Podcast Live. Yay!
Woo! Yay! We made it. We made it.
Yes, we made it. This is episode 50. I've done 50 of these lovely, fantastic episodes, and I brought a couple of my friends to celebrate. Well, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in, all those people that are tuning in right about now. Or is tuning in appropriate when you're using YouTube or whatever? I would say so, right?
No, that works.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you for tuning in.
Let it cook.
YouTube Live, which reminds me
Facebook. Jeez, blasphemy.
I don't know her.
I don't either, but I have to share with those people as well, because they exist. I don't know what Twitter is, and the who's nots and what forth and so forth. Just introduce a few new people that aren't, I think this is your first time on the Indoob podcast. Shannon, how are you? Know about you?
This is my first time, and I am already having a blast. I am so glad to help you celebrate such a wonderful landmark. 50 episodes. That's amazing.
Yes.
So it's a lot of, I'm really honored that I get to share in that. And I just hope I don't slip and fall on your shiny floor and tear down all your curtains.
Way, but hopefully by my own terms, but we'll work that out. So much. And Nick, how are you?
I'm pretty good.
Care to elaborate?
Oh.
I mean, it's like you have the floor.
Just trying to stay out of trouble, trying to be unruly, like I usually am. I'm good to be here. I'm happy to be here. Yeah.
And you both have podcasts too, which we'll do, shout outs later, but just throw it out there now. Just
Oh yeah. Shannon, you want to go first? Anybody?
Okay. We're gonna brag. We're gonna do a little brag.
Go for it.
Nice. Well, I am on a lovely podcast called Nerds of Prey that I helm with 3 other beautiful ladies, CG, Lauren, and Mel, where we talk about nerdy stuff and Black womany stuff and thirst things, and we generally just like to have a good time. So yeah.
I agree. It's a great show, great podcast. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy
Thank you so much.
As far as me, I am co-host with a buddy of mine, Victor. We co-host Megazine. Megazine, we talk about queer and geeky stuff from a Black gay man's perspective. So we talk about anything from drag. We talk about dating. We talk about body issues. We talk about X-Men movies and how they suck so much. We talk about
I'm sorry. We'll talk later about that. We'll talk later. Me and you, Nick, because every now and then we're good, but
I think I hit a nerve.
You
got a winner.
Get a nerve.
Got a winner.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Please continue.
It's only been 3 minutes.
Gonna be a great show, eh?
Right. But yeah, it's we're on every Wednesday, so yeah, it's fun, and yeah.
Yes, also a great podcast, great show. In fact, you should have been hearing promos for both of these podcasts and much more within the support podcast of color network.
The support POC pods.
Yeah, so definitely check them out and many more. So yeah, and so everybody's doing well tonight. Doing good.
Yes.
I've got
the weather's cooperating.
Except I will like to take this moment. My dear sister in pod, as I call her, Stephanie from the Lemonade Show, as well as many other podcasts. Actually, she's just taken over. But
Yeah.
Stephanie's a hustler.
My goodness.
And the weather got the best of her, so she won't be joining us. But we're sending her lots of love, and hopefully she stays safe. And it's all good.
Yes.
Yeah. I do have some breaking news. Good news. Good news. As many people know, or maybe they don't know. I don't know if you know or not. But I do have a part-time job at a radio station. So I do that. And I just got a call that I got a little bit of a raise, and I've only been there a couple months. So
Yay!
Woo-woo. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
thank you. And since this is live, people can check me out this Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern time to 6 a.m. If you happen to be one of those kind of night owls and just awake, I will be on every half an hour to give you your local weather and news. Well, local to Connecticut. If you live elsewhere, I'm sorry.
But it's still interesting, so you should try to tune in.
It is. Because we do a lot of programming. I play music, and it's all good. It's nothing like party music or have it on, whatever. But still, it's good. It's a great experience. I love it. I love being in the studio. I'm living the dream, except for the day job part. I'm living the dream. It's all good.
Nice.
Very cool. Congratulations.
Ready? I feel it's time to take a quick break. And since it is live, we're not really going anywhere. So I'm already just breaking down that kind of magical wall that I like to hide behind called post-production. And we're going to do a short little break. And yeah, let me find my little break music here. Because, I'm professional. Got it. All right, we're going to be right back on the new podcast.
The indoob podcast.
And by the way, this podcast is not brought to you by, but I wish it was brought to you by Poopery. We all poop.
That's a fact.
I wasn't ready. I'm sorry.
I wasn't ready for that either.
Some more than others.
With Poopery, hide the fact. Nobody has to know. In fact, you leave the bathroom with it smelling like roses or gardenias or citrus fruits, whatever. Like, what did you do in there? Oh, nothing, just magic. So, they would be a great sponsor. I would be a lovely shill for them at any time. So,
I'd buy it.
Bed Bath and Beyond. You can find it there. Sometimes you'll find it at random gift shops. I don't know why. Where else can you find it? On their website, poopery.com. So, and Amazon. Highly recommend it. And you have a PSA for us, Courtney?
I do. Let me get ready. Okay, we ready for this, folks? We ready? It's right in your own backyard, hiding behind a bush, or maybe already inside your house. Sometimes they're hanging out in malls, in schools, in churches. While it may be hard to believe, roughly 5 million Americans don't even know where clowns come from. In communities just like yours, there are many, many who need help. Join people across the country who are coming together to stop clowns and their foolish shenanigans. Start today. It can be as easy as telling parents to stop inviting them to birthday parties. No child in the history of children has ever requested a clown at their party. Ever. Clowns feed on your attention, so don't give in. Ignore and run away. Mimes are okay. But remember, if you see a clown, don't fool around. Get out of town.
Thank you so much. Please
All right.
Clowns are taking over.
Just trying to do my part, man. I
My
mean, I feel
gosh.
really passionate about this.
I did glance out my window. I'm gonna admit that I glanced out my window.
Yes,
I
we
got
got one.
I got very nervous. I got very nervous. I started to look behind my back. Are the doors locked?
And
It's like at first it sounds ridiculous. Like, wait, we don't know. We don't know.
I mean, they're sneaky little. I mean, well, they're sneaky. Let's just leave it at that. They're
Yes.
sneaky, and you gotta always be on the lookout.
And they're
creepy.
never welcome. They're never
They're
welcome.
never welcome. Gosh,
Never asked for. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't understand. How are they still around? I don't. Who's feeding them? I don't get it.
Who's feeding them?
They eat. What do they feed on? Fear, probably.
Fear and desperation.
Your tears and your applause, much like Lady Gaga.
Oh, good one.
But I like Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's always welcome.
I do too.
Clowns not
But
so
she
much.
does. She does feed on those same things. So it's ironic.
I'd rather
Don't you think?
about that.
Somebody picked up the bait. Great. Now that song's gonna be stuck in my head.
That's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the shaving the haircut. Little
Yep.
da. Someone's gonna come in with that.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I was working on trying to come up with a new jingle because I have a new segment. Oh yeah, by the way, we're back to the regular show. You didn't know. I didn't.
Thanks, I guess.
The commercials are over. I came up with a new jingle, but I wasn't able to record it and do all the fun stuff that I like to do with my other jingles that I have. But this actually goes to it's inspired by a number of friends. As many people know or should know, I love words. I'm a word nerd, and I just have a fascination and appreciation for many of them. One of which, or some of them, are actually names of towns, like Sheboygan. So Sheboygan is very fun for me to say, and sometimes I kind of use it as an explicitive, especially around at work. And some of my other coworkers kind of caught on, and they use it too. And it's just so much fun to say. So I decided I'm going to utilize that and bring in a new segment to the show. I'm going to try to do it pretty much every episode or as often as I can. And it's called Good Morning Sheboygan. Sheboygan. So, hopefully that tune will get stuck in your head now, along with even a haircut bits. So
It's well on its way.
So I'm working on that. That's going to be a new one for the next episode. Or actually have that whole produced, and you remember it. So what's Good Morning Sheboygan? Sheboygan. I give you a brief news story in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Because prior to a couple days ago, I thought Sheboygan was in New York for some reason, but it's in Wisconsin. And yeah, they may be known as the land of cheese, brats, and plumbing products, but a growing tech sector is also attracting employees to the Lakeshore. While not the millennial tech hub of Milwaukee, Madison, or Chicago, Sheboygan is home to several companies carrying out a niche in application development and design. So kudos to Sheboygan. And I was also supposed to give you their weather report, which I didn't have ready. So shame on me. I'm so sorry. Because it's live. It's live. It happens.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live.
It'll all come together in time.
But last I checked, it was cloudy and maybe like 51 degrees, I'm guessing. So
Oof. At the end of May? Oof.
I know, right? Like what is that even?
I don't. That's not in my ministry.
I would pay an unholy amount of money for that to be the case here. I was like, oh, 51. That sounds lovely.
Well, we
Oof.
had 69 or 68 degrees today, and that's pretty. I mean, that's good for Arkansas. That's like, well, I don't know if it's unseasonably cool, but like just a couple of days ago, it was like 80s and 90s, and sticky and icky 80s and 90s. So for it to be 68 and cool and like it feels good, you can let your windows down. It's great.
That's
Mhm.
fantastic.
I don't know how long it's gonna last, but it ain't, what it was a couple of days ago.
Sticky and hot 90s is like the
Mhm.
default for Central Florida. So
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
it just always is. And it's when you're not near any sort of like ocean breeze, there's just like there's no hope. It's just like it's like the time like the land that God forgot. It's so unfortunate all the time.
He was taking a nap. I've been resting. So
Lever that just moved it by accident with his elbow. Oops, sorry. Bring it back down. I'm gonna say it's 75 here, but that was actually the battery life on my phone, so it's actually
Aw.
Womp womp.
So I guess I can't complain too much, although it is. I don't know. The weather is crazy here. I'm not sure if it's winter or summer today. So tomorrow should be raining, but that's Connecticut. Sheboygan tomorrow it should be 60 degrees and looks like partly sunny, and with a low of 48 degrees. So there you go. Happy hunting. Whatever you do in Sheboygan, whether it's computers or cheese, enjoy yourself. So
Have fun, Sheboygan.
Are
I
they
hope
called
you're not lactose intolerant.
fun fact: a third of Sheboyganites are lactose intolerant.
Wait.
I made that up. Yes, it's not true.
Okay.
Now, wait a minute.
You guys
Like
know
some-
the power that you guys yield as podcasters. You have the control. You have mind control.
Do we?
Courtney and I have discussed this before, where our listeners currently, like, they could be thinking about anything. They're probably thinking about Sheboygan, where it is on the map. But now we have them thinking about red elephants. There you go. Just,
Okay. All right.
about,
It just works out that way. It's just that simple.
it's just the power of suggestion. That's all it really is.
Oh man, we haven't activated ours yet over at Nerds of Prey. We gotta have a meeting.
Mine's is
yes.
still in the repair shop. I don't know what happened to mine. Mine's is messing
Broke
up.
it.
Right.
We'll both work on it.
I was told by Apple Care.
Where's your asymmetrical haircut? You don't get to...
It's in the drag room. Hold on. Hold that thought.
Oh my gosh.
Well, our next segment here is a regular thing. It's our Black History Fact, which I actually do have a already produced jingle for. So let me get that one out because I thought I had it ready.
Black history facts.
Wow. That's the first time I've ever heard it.
Beautiful.
Wow. Okay.
That's my favorite.
See, wait until you hear I do the Sheboygan one now. So yeah. But no, Black History Facts is I just find some bit of interesting news about Black history, and I want to share it with all of you because I feel you would be interested too. Because why else? Most recently, and I actually want to give a shout out to Ariel, who is watching the live stream. So I saw you. Hey, Ariel, how are you? And she let me know. I guess we all say hi. Hi.
Bonjour.
Hey, girl.
He had let me know, I believe it might have been last year, about Pioneers of African American Cinema, which is a 5-disc Blu-ray and or DVD box set. This one I'm reading actually says it's a DVD box set, but I think I have the Blu-ray on my wish list on Amazon. But in 2015, Kino Lorber launched the successful crowdfunding campaign for Pioneers of African American Cinema, a DVD box set that features more than 20 feature-length and short films made by groundbreaking African American directors from 1915 to 1946, showcasing works of Oscar McShow, I don't know how to say his name, Spencer Williams, Richard E. Norman, and many other legendary Helmers. The streaming service includes features like Hellbound Train, Within Our Gates, Birthright, The Flying Ace, and many other titles, some like Hot Biscuits, and The Blood of Jesus, and Verdict Not Guilty, and heaven-bound travelers are also paired together. And the really interesting part for me was the funds raised from Kickstarter allowed the project to expand from a modest collection of films into a monumental 5-disc collection loaded with extras and an 80-page booklet. Now the entire box set is available to stream on Netflix.
Oh, nice.
That was as of February, so I didn't even know it was this year. I thought it would just happen like a couple weeks ago, but it's now on Netflix. And I also want to give a shout out to the Blurred Girl because I didn't know about any of that being streaming until a couple weeks ago. So, shout out to her.
Nice.
That's really cool.
Ariel. So definitely check that out. I don't know if there will be any live streams for that, but I definitely will be watching it with them if they ever do it. I will watch some of them on my own because I'm interested.
Me too.
That's cool.
Early black cinema. So do check that out. Oh, by the way, we have a couple more sponsors that aren't really sponsors. The Perfect Size for One by Duncan Hines is the delectable treat that you deserve. Take one pack, put it in your mug, maybe about 3 tablespoons of water, stir it up, throw it in the microwave. A minute later, you got yourself a nice little cake just for you. No sharing, it's just for you. It's the perfect size. Duncan Hines. And about varieties of flavors. So go check that out at your local grocer.
So I feel like that's a little bit like single folks shaming, or no? Or is it just me, or am I like just projecting?
No, I'm with you on that, Courtney, actually. But
Okay.
Well, I was gonna say it was you, Courtney, but that's just me.
yeah. Luckily, my favorite thing to do is not share. So
True. So like I can't take it too personally because I wouldn't have shared anyway, even if it wasn't just, for one person. But they didn't have to like say it so much and like shove it down my throat. Like I got it the first time.
One, it's for you. It's just for you. Nobody
They might as well have like, okay, I feel like the perfect theme song to go with that is that, what's the song? One is The Loneliest Number. Like you might as well have just play that in the background.
Or Janet Jackson's
Right?
I Get Lonely.
Yeah. Oh, that's a better choice. Yeah. At least we could jam and be lonely,
Hit that body roll.
And then maybe you won't be lonely.
Right.
Lonely anymore, right?
Ah.
There you go. Now you're thinking.
Thinking man meme.
Right.
That took a turn I was not expecting. It was.
Yeah. Well, hey, you invited us, so.
I did.
It's a good thing you have Courtney here.
Yeah. Who thinks outside of the box? Yeah.
Like you get your own, cake mug thing. So, but hey, they're not sponsoring us, so we can say whatever we want. So.
And hopefully we don't deter them from sponsoring after our commentary. But hey, whatever happens, right?
Yeah.
Good you are make these perfect size for ones for you and a significant other. There are other varieties, so maybe you want brownie, they want like vanilla cake or something. So that way, everybody's happy. So
yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
That's a little bit more positive, I guess.
That's a good save. That was a
Yeah.
good save. I can see them writing a letter like, "Dear Indoob, we don't sponsor, but we do see you in."
He will be getting a cease and desist letter.
Now I don't want to eat them anymore.
Somehow I don't believe you. Even under this, I don't believe you. Because this is literally all you talk about is Duncan.
So
You're
this
trying
is
to
the
put your business out there, but
first time I talked about this particular treat. I can only find them at Walmart currently, and normally I'm talking about the Lindt truffle chocolates. They're not a sponsor this week, or they weren't really, but still,
uh-huh.
I can talk about them today. But they are delicious. I had 2 before the show, but we're talking about perfect size.
Mm-hmm.
Go pick up a box or 2. There's 4 packages in a box. Still selling it. I don't know why. Moving on. We're going to. Oh wait, that was the commercial break. Okay, welcome back to the Indoob podcast. And next up, we're here. There's a reason why I gathered you all here this evening, and that is to discuss our favorite, our top villains of all time.
I thought I had an evil laugh on deck, and when it came time to perform,
You weren't
it
even
just-
ready. Like you were supposed to be ready.
I wasn't. I was taking a sip of something. I can't do one. Oh my god. That's a
Shannon?
Shannon, I'm a little disappointed.
me too. I always thought I had one in the tank, but I guess not. It sounds there it is.
There you go.
You
You just
had
have
to warm
to. You
up.
just have to. Yeah, you got it. You got it. You're good.
Want us to all come in so you can laugh with us?
Yes. I want to be part of the fun. Okay. Do it again. I feel better. Thank you.
Good.
I didn't want to throw you out of the cast of Doom because that's what I'm calling the segment here, the podcast of Doom, instead of like Legion of Doom or something. But I asked you all to come up with your like top 5 villains of all time. It could be from a book, TV, movies, whatever. And I will go last because, as I told you guys earlier, and again, I'm just telling all my business, that I have a list, but it is lost somewhere. So that's okay. I have most of it committed to memory. So, Courtney, who do you have on your list?
So should I start with like the least or
Countdown.
start with like number 1? Yeah, so I should count down from least greatest to top billing
Right.
villain. Okay. So I basically have 4, and I'm sure that I will think of a 5th as we get into our discussion. Number 4 for me, I'd have to say adulthood. I feel like that. I'm just kidding.
I was like, "Ooh, that's good."
I didn't even know I forgot to put that stipulation that has to be a fictional thing because that's a little too.
Womp. Okay, well, so let's see. So out of one of my favorite series is the Hunger Games, the books, you guys. I really love that. I love that series, and it's just so beautifully written by Suzanne Collins. And I hate to have to say that I would say the Capitol, because of what the Capitol stands for, is a great like villain, but that's kind of that gets really. That's a bit more broad that I guess I want to go. So I'm gonna have to say President Snow is a great villain. What's his name portrayed him very well in the movies. I forget the actor's name. But anywho, I just love President Snow because of his relationship with Katniss and how he played the game and how he played her. And so he was just a really great villain, very subtle villain. Next one, which I guess is not in order, is Negan from Walking Dead.
Oh my god.
I'm not super well versed in the books. I know like this. Yes, Donald Sutherland. Thank you. Somebody in the chat. Thanks, Patrick. Donald Sutherland is the actor who plays President Snow in the Hunger Games movies.
He was so good.
Mhm.
Yes, he was. He was so good, so good.
He plays the bad guy good anyway.
Yeah,
he
really does. He really does. So that was a really great casting choice on their part. But but in the books, obviously the books are better. They're normally better, except for 50 Shades. But anyway, the books are a lot. They go into a lot more detail with President Snow, and a lot more happens, and it's just good. But anywho, back to Negan with from the Walking Dead TV show and graphic novel series. He, if you don't know anything about Negan, he's just one of I mean, he's probably one of the greatest villains I've ever seen, and the one that you love to hate. Like I remember. I mean, you hear that a lot. You know, he's the person that you love to hate. But
Mhm.
I don't know if I've ever loved to hate a villain as much as Negan. At first, I thought it was the governor within that same universe. But oh my goodness, Negan is nothing to play with. I mean, and I think one of the reasons that he's so great as a villain is because he truly believes that what he's doing, the evil that he's doing, and the actions that he takes is for the greater good and it's for the betterment of everybody else. And he
Mhm.
truly believes that he is the the way for, I guess, humanity to get, or for the world as we know it in this zombie apocalypse, to get back to normal. He's the way to make that happen. And it's just, also, he's not, he's not too bad on the eyes, watching the show. And so he's just I mean, he's just a great villain. Now in the books, I know that it gets way more in depth with him, and the things that he does
Yeah.
is less censored than what can be shown on the show, even though what he's done on the show is pretty bad.
Oh yeah.
But, you
It's
know,
way worse in the it's way worse in the books.
do you
Like
keep up with the comics, Shannon?
I am about like 6 or 7 issues behind currently, but
Okay.
yeah.
Oh wow.
Um
Well, you're pretty caught up though. That's not too
yeah,
bad.
yeah. It was that was actually last summer. That was my comic binge, and when it got to Negan, I was like, "How are they going to put this man on TV?"
Right, right.
Like it was and he is a very charismatic
Mhm.
villain.
Mhm.
Got a
And
lot.
Like he's so good.
I think that rounds him out. That's what makes him a lovable villain, if I can
Hmm.
say that. Just because um, he's so interesting, and you want to see what he does next, kinda, and you want to hear what he has to say next, kinda. But he like puts, fear in your heart, and you're not even, on the show with him. So it's just, I don't I can't think of anybody better to play Negan than Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh yeah.
And I
Good
feel,
job.
I guess I can't call myself a fan of the books just because I haven't read enough of them. But I am a fan of The Walking Dead, like the world of The Walking Dead.
Hmm.
Um, and so I feel like he's been done justice, Negan has.
He
Because they
has.
can't, they can't, like you said, they can't put everything on TV just because the things that he's done. I mean, even his language, he's, dropping f-bombs every other word. You can't put that
Yes.
on on cable TV. But I don't know, he's just such a great villain. He's my favorite. He's my favorite villain.
He's on my list too, so I put him down. I think as number 3 because I'm like, man, he's really good, but I'm not telling the rest of my list yet. But I'm just saying that.
Well, I feel like I'm
No,
kind of
he's a good one.
I feel like I'm fangirling over the villain, and I'm just like, oh my god, he's great, but you don't even know, but like he's amazing. So I can't like articulate why I love him so much. So hopefully you do a better job with that.
We're here to
Um,
embrace the badness that are these bad guys. But they play,
yeah, just
Mhm.
awesome.
and he's unpredictable too, which is
Oh yeah.
he is terrifying, which is what also makes me like him so much. Like, I know what you're gonna
Mhm.
do. Terrifies me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has a way of surprising you, and I don't know. I've been with the show since the beginning, and it's a lot of times it's because it's been on for what, seven, six, seven, I don't know, a long time, 6 or 7 seasons, and it, I don't know. I feel like there's still twists and turns to be had on the show, but it's not as much as when I first watched, because it was like, what is going on? What is this show? It's the first of its kind, and so now I'm kind of
Mhm.
like a little numb to it. But then Negan comes on the scene, and then it's like it's kind of new all over again, and we all
Mhm.
know how he started on the show, and we don't need to go relive that episode again. But
I,
that was a huge thing, a huge shocker.
I don't want to relive
Still.
the episode, but just those, what was it, maybe 10 minutes before the brutal act, like
I'm telling you.
that scene was amazing. Just like the gravitas that he has.
Yes.
When
I
you
mean,
remove, yeah, if you remove your feelings from it,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I was deep in my feelings on that one because I knew it was coming. Um, it's Jeffrey Dean Morgan does a phenomenal
Mhm.
job of highlighting um not just the most like charismatic
Mhm.
aspects of Negan, but just what makes him so bone chilling. It's like to all of this to him is a show.
Mhm.
Like
But he's
he's
serious
going
about it though.
and he's serious about it, but to him it's like in his head it's a necessary
Yeah,
show
right.
so that he can establish like understand me, do not cross me
Mhm.
because I barely care about what I'm about to
Right.
do in the next 2
Right.
minutes. So much to the point where he's like he's willing to monologue about it. And
Right.
it's like, "Oh, you're nuts.
Yeah.
You are genuinely
Right,
okay."
right.
But like you said, Courtney, it's like to him it's like a necessary thing to do
Mhm.
because he's got to when you have all of these competing worlds
Mhm.
competing for very few resources, you really don't have the
Mhm.
time to be, kind and passive. He needs to let everyone know that like
Mhm.
I'm the head honcho.
Mhm.
So because you blinked and I told you not to blink, I'm gonna
Mhm.
kill your
You
family.
have
Like
you have to go. Yeah.
Right.
you have to go. It's like it is terrifying.
Like
And
he's
he does
well, it's like he's trying to write or he's trying to get the flow of like life. He is trying to establish the new normal and he's basically doing that by any means necessary, even if it's brutal, especially if it's brutal. That's how you get the point across in his
Mhm.
head. So and he's just such a joy to watch on TV because he's not only does it in such a suave way, but in one moment he's laughing and just talking to you normal, and then like you make one wrong move and he's ready for war, no
Yeah.
joke. And so he's just great.
He's
I just
yeah.
love him.
I feel like we can continue to talk about it. Who else is on your list?
Okay, so somebody PC in the chat kind of they said it and I couldn't. I mean, the Underwoods. And so, PC, shout out to you for hitting up the next folks on my list. But Claire and Frank Underwood from the House of Cards series um, on Netflix. I love them. And now I name them both because I feel like as a power couple, they can't really move. Like, you would think that on their own, like, okay, let me back it up. I feel like on their own, they could do plenty damage and they could do plenty, they can make things happen on their own. But as a unit, they are ruling the world. And it's just to see both of them in action and to see how they think and to see how they um, and to see how they basically rule everything with an iron fist. But politically, it's just crazy. And I remember when I first started watching House of Cards, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. This is like this gets so deep into the politics. I don't know, but it's so interesting and it just drags you in and to see kind of the extracurricular work that they do, and the underhanded shady stuff that they do. I
That's a
mean,
nice way of putting it.
That is. I was
yeah, yeah. I don't know how else to explain it, but I mean, it really does draw you in, and then I catch myself speaking the political lingo, and I'm like, who is she, and where does she, talking about myself. But it's just so good, and to see like their rise to power. Now I'm just waiting for them to fall because I mean, ultimately they have to be taken out. Whether they are actually taken out or if they're going to be impeached. I don't know how it's going to happen, but they can only do so much. Even the Underwoods are invincible. Um, but Claire Underwood is one of my favorite because she is so she is so regal and so elegant, but she is just as sharp and just as underhanded as Frank. It just seems like she's more subtle with hers, and it's, less noticeable. So I love her, I love him, and them as a unit they're just unstoppable.
You know that analogy where they say you put a frog in boiling water and he'll
Mhm.
jump out? That's like Frank
Mhm.
Underwood. Claire is more like you put the frog in like a cool water and then you turn it up slowly
Mhm.
by slowly and you boil it alive. That's more like Claire.
Mhm. That's a really
Ooh.
good analogy. That's exactly how she is. And then it's like one of those things where she'll get you in there, but then by the time you realize what's happening, it's way too late. You're already
Right.
boiling. You're already in their grip. You can't go nowhere. It's great. I love it.
They are great characters, and I sometimes, I kind of wonder how much of that real life too much, but how much of that is really going on, other than I'm hoping nobody's being pushed in the trains or dogs are being killed in bed.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that sucks. That's bad stuff.
Uh,
Yeah.
you have one more for us?
So this is kind of a lighthearted one, just because all of the villains that I've named, I feel like are like real people in real life, and that's really depressing. So it's kind of a tie between Todd Packer on The Office,
Oh
and
my God. Thank you.
he's great. He's just a
He's
great. I don't even know if he's really actually a villain, but he's such great comic relief, and he's just that awkward, I guess, uncle that is in most people's families that just does the wrong things at the wrong times, and you're like, ooh, I don't know. Oh God, what do we do? What do I say? And then you don't know what to do. And then if you say something, he'll call you out on it.
hmm
So I feel
He's
like
both.
yeah, I feel like he's just that perfect standing character that everybody can relate to and everybody cringes. And also another uncle that we all know and have grown up with, Mufasa from The Lion King. Like, what kind of underhanded mess is it that you're gonna kill your own brother in front of your own nephew
And
just for the
Scar?
throne? Scar. I'm sorry. God, it's been a long day. Yes, Scar. I was thinking of
I was
Mufasa. I'm sorry. Mufasa killed nobody because he was an angel.
Gentle and pure. But I
So
understood and I
gentle.
agreed.
But Scar, like, really, bro? Like, I mean, he got his in the end. We all know. But I think he was everybody's. Well, he was one of my first villains. I was definitely raised on Disney,
Yes.
but he's one of the ones that I never forgave him. I'm still not over it. So,
hmm Cold
and
blooded goat.
cold blooded, yeah, great villain though.
and the person who voiced him, Jeremy Irons, I still can't look him in the face.
Like, how could you, Jeremy
I
Irons?
I actually saw him in person last year when I went to New York for a short trip, and I was fortunate enough to get to see Hamilton, and he was
Oh,
there.
what?
Yeah, he was there. Like, he walked in, and I didn't recognize who he was at first
Mm-hmm.
because he was wearing like one of those like floppy hats, and he looked very, very hipsterish and very cool. And then my friend Tiffany was like, "That's Jeremy Irons," and I couldn't reconcile it. Like, I
Like,
couldn't.
you couldn't believe you were in the same breathing space as him.
Like, I was just like, I was kind of stunned that it was him, but at the same time, I was like, "But you've got to answer for a lot of stuff, Jeremy." Like, it was a very confusing feeling where I was like starstruck, but then I was also like irrationally upset. Like, ugh, like, why they could have had a bright future, but
I mean, they could have ruled together some type of way. He could have been an advisor or counselor or something. Scar could have, but no, he
right.
wanted to take it all for
Well,
himself.
Jafar was a royal vizier. So, I don't think that would have.
That's true. Yeah, that's You've got a point. But Jafar was like, what was he? He had like sorcery and crap on his side. So Scar didn't. He's a lion in the safari.
Jafar was
He's
a
like,
black mage.
he's
Yes,
just like,
like
I just got this cliff in my dreams. That's it.
Right.
true that. True that.
One of those I had on my list. I try not to put too many Disney characters on there because that's what I kept going back to.
It's
But
hard. It's hard to.
it is because some of them are really good. I'll also say I'll say for the Disney side, I have Jafar and I have Ursula,
Yep.
and
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
they are
good
She
both.
ones.
scared me. Like I remember watching Little Mermaid, and being like legit afraid because of Ursula. Like she scared the crap out of me. Still kind of does.
I still have a fear of octopuses because of her. So yeah, I mean, I probably was terrified of them anyway because I mean, you don't need that many legs. What's going on? Stop it. And, but as for Jafar, what I like about some of these villains is their quest, what they want, and this actually goes for the Underwoods. Um, Negan, well, he kind of wants control, but they all have a quest for power and like maybe that ultimate power, like they either want to rule
Mhm.
or reign on high, make me a sultan.
Mhm. Mhm.
So all of his wishes, that's all that he wanted, except for one of them. He wanted Jasmine to fall in love with her. That was creepy.
Yeah,
But
it's weird.
Ugh. Ugh.
and I was trying to hold off and wait until everybody got done with their list until I asked this question. But I'll ask it now, and we'll still continue with our list. But what to you makes a great villain? Like, what kind of things do they have to do? And I'll say for me, they have to be the kind of character that isn't afraid to do the dirty work themselves. Like, if it has to do with like killing somebody, like they're going to go ahead and
Mhm.
get henchmen to do it. They're just going to go ahead and do it.
Mhm.
Henchmen. Sometimes they have them, and if they do, cool. If not, it doesn't matter. I'm going to do my dirt anyway, and it might not always be for monetary gain. It could just be for like, I just really hate you, or I'm insane, or I just want the power. So,
Mhm.
so what for you guys? Nick, what makes a good villain for you?
Uh, a good villain for me has to it has to run on the borders of good versus evil. I think with a lot of villains, it doesn't. A lot of villains to me aren't necessarily villains. It's just how we view them. Like what they do isn't necessarily, they don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but quote unquote, a good guy would think that their actions are bad. So I like the uh what's the word? I like the how they can play up to that line of being good, but then fall back into being evil. I like
Mhm.
how they can
Mhm.
switch
Mhm.
sides,
Mhm.
and they have to be charismatic and a likable. A likable villain is, I think, necessary in order for their storyline to succeed.
Yes, I agree.
Mhm. Yeah.
Shannon, anything you want to add to that?
Um, Definitely co-sign on everything Nick said, and I just think a good villain is somebody that operates on that tiny little voice that we're all taught to suppress um
Yeah.
early on. Because I mean, like, there's a very thin line you you notice between um the good guys and the bad guys, and anybody can be a bad guy, just like anybody can be a good guy. And I just love that factor of like the good guy saying like, look, or the bad guys being like, you could be me at any moment. So it's just, they're the ones that really aren't afraid to kind of, and a lot of times, at least my favorites are the ones that really aren't afraid to act on that bad sense that we're all like, no, we shouldn't punch that guy in the face just because
Right.
he kind of like side us a little bit. The bad guy's like, well, I'm gonna because he shouldn't
Yeah.
have crossed me.
Right.
Those are always the really fun ones for me. It's just the ones that kind of blur that morality a little bit. And by the end, by like 3/4 of the movie, like you've spent so much time judging this character, and then he'll say something, and you're like, oh, that kind of makes all the sense in the world.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, this is something that's really really accessible to me, and this could really be me. I just
Mhm.
like those. I like those that kind of tiptoe on that line, and ones that just really have like a good one liner that just
Yeah.
that kind of like their best weapon of of everything. They could have all of the best technology and really, really do some damage, but their best weapon is their words. That is, those people are my favorite.
Well, who's on your list? Shannon.
Well, Ursula always tops my list. Every list of favorite villains, favorite characters, favorite Disney, she's always at the top. Because like she just, there's a part of me that just feels like a part of her wanted to kind of like save Ariel. Like she really wanted to tell him, look, Earth is
Really?
above the water is not anything to, it's really, you're doing a lot for very little. Like it's not, if you want it, okay, fine, but give me your voice if you're gonna be this dumb. It was, she was so stylish and cool, and Poor Unfortunate Souls is a jam. And I am of the belief, like, if we're going to do this trend of we need to like give everybody a live action film, hers needs to be next, and it needs to be Queen Latifah, and we need to just stop
Amen.
playing around. Like it
Right.
needs, like she needs her own film. It's time. I don't know what we're waiting for. Like we have multiple Alice in Wonderland films and not one.
Girl.
I don't want it. I didn't ask for this.
I get it.
I didn't sign for this.
Well, I think we have to reach out to Lin-Manuel Miranda because he is working on the live action Little Mermaid for Disney. So if we can.
Is he really?
I heard
So-
rumblings that
Oh my
It's-
God.
and if that's the case, it's going to be beyond
Oh my
anything
gosh.
we can
That's
imagine.
amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait because the songs are going to be fire because all the songs of Moana were
Oh my
fire.
gosh.
So
Oh, girl, I listen to that on repeat like almost every day. Moana.
isn't it amazing? Like You're Welcome. You're
Beautiful.
Welcome by Jordan Fisher is like my
Yes.
favorite, like popified.
Yes.
And Alessia Cara. That whole album is really
Yes.
incredible. So I can't wait to see what he does with the Ursula songs because, like I said, Poor Unfortunate Soul. Well, Little Mermaid's one of the few films that have like bops just in every corner, like because between the girl, Poor Unfortunate Soul, like
You're right though. You got hits everywhere you turn. Hits.
I still. Just
What was that?
I mean, I still randomly sing "Under the Sea" to myself just because.
Side note, and I'm promise I'm going to get back on topic. I promise you. Have you heard the mashup of "Under the Sea" and "Miss New Booty" by
What?
Yang Yang Twins?
You know what? I'm going home.
No.
No, you're all getting tagged, and you're all going to deal, and you're all going to love it.
Listen, I'm ready. I'm here for it. I don't know what
it's
these
amazing.
jokers talking about, but I'm ready. I can't wait.
It is
I
incredible.
cannot wait.
So while I'm looking for that, so my next favorite villain is Leonard. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, this podcast is all about like tangents and such and so forth. So
Yeah, and I'm trying to rein that in. So my next favorite villain is Leonard Snart from The Flash, but specifically Wentworth Miller's
yes,
version of Leonard Snart is so fun to watch, and he just, it's like they give him very little. I love The Flash. The villains, so he does a lot with very little, and he just knows how to finesse that character and make him so fun. Like every word he utters is just dripping with sarcasm. And
I have yet to master the way he speaks. But
what was that?
Yet to master the way that he speaks.
It's hard. It's like a drawl, but not. Like it's really hard to like get that down. But his dynamic with Grant Gustin is so wonderful, and his way of thinking as far as like whether he's a bad guy this week or he's a good guy this week, it's very chaotic me. Like,
Mhm.
It's very like, what benefits me right now in this moment? So he can agree to help you, but mid-plan, he could decide, I don't wanna. He's literally done that. Like,
Right.
mid-plan, he's just been like, I don't feel like it. No explanation. No, like, traceable line of
No,
thinking.
heal this instead. So yeah, yeah, I love him.
He's so great. So he is a favorite of mine. So it's very hard to keep Disney villains off because again they're all very great. Um did any of you guys ever watch Phineas and Ferb?
No,
I did not.
No, me
Okay.
neither.
So I'll try to keep this brief. They had a villain on Phineas and Ferb called Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and he was very, very low stakes. Like, no one was dying. You had every confidence that like no one was dying or no one was going to be like hurt. Everyone was just going to be greatly inconvenienced. Like make the he would make these innators or these inventions that were supposed to like he always wanted to take over, quote unquote, the tri-state area. He never wanted the world. He was a very reasonable villain.
Tri-state area.
He just wanted the tri-state area. And
That's
it was
great.
never like it was never anything that was like going to seriously hurt people. It would literally be like, I made this leftinator that moves everything 5 inches to the left, and everyone's going to be confused. And I was like, that's
Wow.
evil and
Right.
wild. And he was very serious about his backstories. Like he would like his nemesis, who's also like low-key his best friend. Perry the Platypus. It's a very confusing cartoon to explain. But Perry the Platypus was this platypus that was also a secret agent. And he would always like call, it was very important to him that Perry the Platypus hear his backstories. Because he's like, I have a reason why I'm like this. And I need you to understand that my mother did not like me. My brother was they always laughed at me, and that is why I made this laughinator that makes everyone's laughs like 5 pitches higher and breaks all the glass in their immediate surroundings. Like that's just the kind of stuff he did, and it was fun. It was
Wow, that's
it was
awesome.
so great, and like he held very dear to that like villainous role to the point where like when I think there was an episode where like Platty the Platty Perry the Platypus got like a new villain and he was very jealous. He was like, no, that's my nemesis and you need to back off. And he took him to the Maury show. It was very
Oh wow.
Wow.
Maury like show.
I'm missing out.
It is such a good cartoon. Huh?
on Netflix.
No, it was Disney
It might
Channel,
be.
right?
Well, it might also be on Netflix. I know at one point it was because we used to binge it a lot. So I'm gonna
Oh man.
but it is such a fun cartoon. I suggest everybody watch that along with like Gravity Falls. Like there's a lot of really great Disney cartoons. But yeah, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is a top of mine. My fourth one was Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada.
Ooh.
Yes. Amen.
I thought about her.
She
Oh my gosh.
like that was I mean there have been plenty of villains that have come and gone in my life, but she was like the first one that like really made me understand that you don't have to have a big boastful voice or yell or ever I don't think she raises her
Mhm.
voice in that film.
No,
I don't remember
she
her
doesn't.
ever
Mm-mm.
raising her voice, but my goodness, she could break your career with nothing and not
Yep.
have any sort of sympathy. Like you wanted to be her and you also wanted to see her get knocked down a peg and you just wanted to know how she got her hair like that. Like
Mhm.
she is just so well done. Like that monologue where she talks about the color blue
Yes.
is so
It's sick, boy. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
it's iconic. It's iconic. Like
Yes.
and it was such like a powerful moment because I think not to like jump on the soapbox for too long, but so often things that are deemed feminine are
Mhm.
immediately villainized and immediately illegitimized and like not rarely ever taken seriously. So for her to break it down as a way of saying like you're no better than me
Right.
was
Right.
so cool. So
And it
Can I
was
just
great
go back to
because
my-
it seems like that was the first. If correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't that the first time that she really basically spoke to Anne Hathaway's character? Like that was the first time that she actually,
Yes.
had a real dialogue with her other than barking
Mhm.
orders. And then it was so intelligent and it was so like she read her, and it
Yes.
was
But she was right.
But
she
she was
was so
absolutely
right.
right.
She
Like
was
you
so
can't
right.
you can't tell me that, oh, I'm just picking this color. I'm just picking my clothes just to be picking my clothes. The powers that be, which is who you work for, pick all
Mhm.
these clothes and are infiltrated all the way down to the department stores where
Mhm.
you get your bargain basement
Mhm.
clothes from.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And now you want to come up here and say that, oh, that I'm not taking this seriously, or this is just
Mhm.
another job. This is life and death to them.
Right.
Right.
So I was all on Miranda's side when she read what's her name's Anne Hathaway's character, The Filth.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
absolutely.
And I loved it
It
because I mean, it was a really good way of saying, "Hey, yes, we're in the fashion industry, but we don't just put on clothes and twirl around and play in the mirror all day. This is why it's
mhm.
important, and this is how deep it gets, and you don't even know the half of it, little girl." It was just great.
It
Right.
was so fantastic. And it really did knock her down a peg. And I'm always for that.
Mhm.
Especially
Mhm.
It
Anne Hathaway.
as
Oh
which I
yeah,
mean
especially her,
I feel like she gets such an
villain
unfair
in and
shake.
of herself.
Oh my god, I actually enjoy Anne Hathaway. I do like her. I feel like she gets like a bad shake, but she does know how to play a character that is annoying. Like
Yeah.
I have
Mhm.
yet to find a character of hers that I root for.
Not
Maybe
even what's her name in Les Mis?
and see even that, like
oh,
I
what's her name?
am not a Les Mis fan. Like so all this
Oh.
the entire time I was sitting there, I was just like, oh, you got to get me out of here. Like why why did this happen? Why am I here? But
We'll talk
she's I
later,
mean
Shannon. We'll
she's
talk later.
oh
Me
my
and
god.
you.
Wait.
We'll talk.
I
Just
just
turn
I
on your location. I just want to talk.
oh
Oh
my
my God.
god. It's just I can't be here for the French Revolution for 5 hours, Courtney. I can't. It was
I
so
know.
long
I
and
got it. I get you.
all this
The
IKEA
plays are
furniture.
better. The
You imagine how
IKEA
long it took for
furniture,
them to take that put that together?
Oh my goodness gracious. Well, the
like
I've seen
forever.
I've one of my friends, shout out to Donald Roop, did an incredible production of Les Mis. So if I see like an incredible stage production, I'm there.
Yeah.
Any call me anytime. I just think of the
Yeah.
movie form. I was like, goodness gracious. But she did
Yeah.
sing
It
the
was
mess out of
rough.
that song. Yeah, but she sang the mess out
Fantine.
of that. Yeah, Fant-
She was Fantine.
yeah, she
Thank
sang
you, chat
the
room.
but she sang the mess out of that
Yeah.
song. But yeah, I have a hard time rooting for most of her characters. So when Miranda chopped her down like over her shoulder, like she was still very much
Listen.
in her task.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
it was incredible.
She
It was
kept
very
on
it was
working and then chose the correct color blue belt. Like she
right.
just didn't stop working. I said,
It-
"Okay, I see you.
no,
Okay."
the train did not leave those tracks. It was fantastic.
No.
So
Oh, it was great.
she's a forever favorite. And then we were supposed to have five, and then it got down to the nitty gritty, and I had a three-way tie. So it was I'll just rattle them off. V from Orange is the New Black season 2 before I rage quit that show. Dolores Umbridge
Yes.
from Harry Potter, because my goodness, I could talk about her forever. And Yzma from, oh my goodness, how come this name left me? Oh, Emperor's New Groove,
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
because Eartha Kitt is everything.
Yes, she
And
is.
like that, it was hilarious. That whole uh movie, that whole film is like an underrated classic. Like not enough people talk about how great that film was. And her as Yzma was so funny. Yzma and Kronk just deserve
Mhm.
way more screen time than they got.
Mhm.
That was it. That was like one of the first times I was like, can we go back to the villain for a little while? Because
I mean, this is the only David Spade movie I can tolerate, I think. So
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
say that twice.
Yes.
The onlyest.
the onlyest one. But yeah, my those are my favorites. There's a ton more. It changes weekly because there's
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
That
so
was my problem.
I've thought of a couple more already, honestly.
I
yeah.
was jotting
See,
remember, but Nick, it is your turn to
Okay.
give us your top
Hold on,
villains.
Nick. Before we move to you, I did find out that Phineas and Ferb is still streaming on Netflix. So
yes, everyone watch it.
you're welcome.
And I
Okay,
will
sorry,
say,
Nick. Go ahead.
Nick, I'll let you go in just a second, and I want to put out there that my giveaway is finally active. I've and I'll talk about this a little bit more later on after we finish this segment. But I'm doing a giveaway. I posted a link in the YouTube chat. I posted a link on Twitter, and you can enter to win it. And, we'll talk about that more later. So go on, Nick.
Okay, I kind of struggle with this because I love the villains. I think the villains speak to a part of us that we always want to do something or act in a certain way, but society says that we can't.
Mhm.
So my first one, and this is in no particular order, was Alexis Carrington from Dynasty. The reason I chose Alexis is because, you know, in the 80s, it wasn't, you didn't see a villain who was a woman. And
Mhm.
she took control. She knew what she was. She knew who she was about and wasn't afraid of anybody, man or woman. And you didn't see that a lot. You didn't see a powerful woman in the 80s. Or they were just starting to come, you know, with the movies like Norma Ray, with Sally Field, different movies that had powerful women like Aliens with Sigourney Weaver. You had
Yeah.
these big women in these powerful roles that took it to men, took it to women, and didn't leave anybody in their ways. I know CWC is going to show reruns of Dynasty. I know they're trying to do some kind of reboot, remake of Dynasty, which I am so not here for. That looked messy. Oh, don't get me started on that. But I loved Alexis Carrington Colby. Well, how many last names that woman had, but she's always a good villain for me. Another one for me was Eve from Parasite Eve. Parasite Eve was a book by a Japanese author, and I'm going to screw up with this name, Hideki Senya, and it was later turned into a video game for the PlayStation back in the 90s. Now, the game centers around a police officer and this woman, she calls herself Eve. Just to give you a brief synopsis, mitochondria in the body is transforming into something that can take over the body. And Eve, to me, it's very scientific. If you have a PlayStation, go download it on the PSN store. If you can go to a bookstore or go to your library, read the book, it's very interesting. Eve, to me, she didn't care who got in her way. She was going to kill everybody. And if you were in her way, you know, either you burnt up, either you served her cause, which would be explained in the game, or you were going to lend her your, how do I say this without being lewd? Which is hard for me.
I can see your neck straining because you're just
Oh my God.
you're working so hard over there.
The veins are popping out of my head as we speak. You would lend her the things that make you a man and the things that produce offspring to carry on what she wanted.
Gotcha.
I'll say that. But she was such the game it was very severely underrated. It was back when Square Enix was still Square Soft. So if any gamers out there remember that, it was, a long time ago. And I still have the game. Yeah, it was I think it came out in maybe 98. And I still have the original copies down in my never-ending collection of games. Oh, who else would I have? I have another. I have the Misfits from Jim and the Holograms. Now,
What?
if anybody knows
Uh-oh.
me, I am a Jim stan,
Yes,
and
sir.
I will snatch you to the ground if you say that that movie that they did was better than the TV show. Actually, I'll meet you outside on that.
Who would? Who in their right mind?
Somebody said, "Oh, somebody on Twitter said, oh, I didn't think the movie was that bad." I was like, "You
Oh
must have
God.
you need your eyes checked. Number one,
Egg.
because
Right.
because your astigmatism is getting to you." But the
And
Misfits,
severely clouding your judgment.
right? I'm like, who does that? Where we do that at? But anyway, the Misfits, they must have wrapped up at least 50 felony charges by the first season. I mean, if it wasn't burning down somebody's house, it was kidnapping somebody, then it was stealing property, then it was actually full blown murder at one point. I'm like, why
Oh,
aren't these
wow.
ladies in prison? Oh my god! But then they had like some of the baddest songs. They had
Yeah.
some fire songs, and I still. And if anybody, I'll say this also: nobody can beat me in a Jim and the Holograms lip sync. Be it a Jim song, a Misfit song, or a singer song, I got you beat. So don't even do it.
Don't even try it.
Don't try it. Don't
Just
make me
don't.
do that. Don't make me do that to you. 'Cause I want to be friends. Don't make me do it. But the Misfits, initially they had three. They had Pizzazz, Roxy, and Stormer, and then later on they added Jetta, which she was from England, and she was a manipulator and a liar. Basically, they were all liars, but they had some nice fashion, and they had the big hair, the big '80s hair.
They
like
did.
Mhm.
their hair was huge. Like, how on God's green earth do you comb all that out? But I love the Misfits. Who else do
Me
I
too.
have? I have. If anybody has played BioShock Infinite, I have Comstock. We can do spoilers, right?
Sure.
Okay. So in BioShock Infinite, you assume the role of Booker DeWitt, and Booker DeWitt is transported to this city in the sky, and there's this Trump lookalike. And if you play the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He is like Trump, house down boots.
We don't use that word.
Who's say what?
I'm kidding. We don't use that word here.
But it turns out when you're going through the game, I kind of don't want to spoil it, but I'm going to spoil it anyway. Booker is actually Comstock, and throughout the quest of finding out where you're going and how do you get back home, Booker DeWitt is the person that he's trying to kill. He's trying to kill himself, basically. And
Oh,
there's
wow.
a quote. It's very deep. There's
What
a quote
plot
that
twist.
girl, listen, I was playing that game. I almost put it down. I was like, this is boring the mess out of me. My partner was like, no, you got to keep on going. You got to keep on going. So I got to the end of the game, and my mouth was gaped for the entire ending. I was like, I did not see that plot twist coming. My edges were snatched to the ground. I was bald, and I had to wear a wig for like 2 months in order for my edges to grow back. But there was a quote
Wow.
that, it was deep. The quote, if I can find it in a timely fashion, a Comstock said, I'm paraphrasing right here, that the Lord is forgiving, but I am just a prophet, so I'm not. So that lets you know all you need to know about Comstock.
That like hits you in your spirit.
Right?
I mean, wow.
Yeah, he was a SOB. And
Mm.
my final one, and I think it's a two-way tie. It's between Apocalypse and Magneto.
Yeah.
Apocalypse, to me, we're not gonna recognize Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse because
Right,
that
you
wasn't
say
his
that
fault. That wasn't Baby's fault. That was the writer's fault.
Nick, I'm
Apocalypse.
just saying I don't want to fight you, but I mean, I don't want to fight you,
I
but I
mean,
will. Just watch it. You on thin ice, bro.
I'm on Courtney's side on this one because I do enjoy the movie, but I'm with you, Nick, because I do like Apocalypse as the character. And I was
I
first
just
introduced to him.
right. Well, we were first introduced to him. Well, to me, I was introduced to him in the X-Men animated series, where the voice
Mm,
actor, like once
mm-hmm.
you hear the voice actor, then that's the only Apocalypse that you should see. Anybody
Got
else
you.
falls by the wayside. And after
Got
he
you.
died, it was like, who who can have that bravado and carry these lines of Apocalypse? Like Apocalypse has some bomb lines in the X-Men animated series. He said, "There exists no freedom from me. There exists freedom through me.
Ooh,
I am
bars.
the shores of the eternal." Oh wait, I'm getting that wrong. But I digress. But anyway, he he
You're
was the
right, though.
first. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you're right. He's got some lines. The only one I remember is him telling the rest of the X-Men to watch me and tremble,
Right.
as rain doom upon them.
He said, I am as far beyond you as they are beyond him, or something like that. But he's just, he's the T. He's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was the first one. So you could say that have claws. You could say that you can control the weather. You could say that you can read minds or telepathic, what have you. But I was the first. And you can't take that away from me.
Mhm.
And I can never, and I'm Apocalypse. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. I can never die. And so to go back to that movie, that Jean Grey that somehow got the Phoenix, killed Apocalypse, which he can never die. That's where I have a problem with. And then, not to go on a tangent, but Archangel, who has wings, died in an airplane.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like some of these, let's think about this. Let's think about this. And then Psylocke was a bad guy, and then she was with the Morlocks. When was she ever with the Morlocks? And then Storm was afraid of a car. Storm could have moved that car with a twist. Like, let's get into these. Don't get me testifying today because
I'm not going to argue that the movie was problematic. I just enjoyed it for what it was. So, and yes, all those issues, all those things, I had some issues with too. But
the best part of the movie was the first part when they were in Egypt.
Ooh,
Yeah. Well, and also Quicksilver's scene. That's pretty dope. What?
It was,
What?
it was cute. I mean, it was.
I don't.
Oh my word.
Oh, see?
It was a
I
look,
don't.
but just not for me.
Oh my god. Well, you know what they were doing with the Phoenix? They were trying to set her up for like future movies and all this other stuff because capitalism.
Right.
So I don't appreciate how that was done. But I see
She shouldn't have
Hollywood.
had. Right. She shouldn't have had the Phoenix in her.
Not
It should have
yet,
been
yeah.
right. Like, how can she already have it in her when she's like what, 12?
She's basically 2 though. So yeah, I don't understand. I don't
And then
understand that, but yeah.
I said this on my podcast a couple of episodes ago. Like, how are they going to do the Phoenix Saga? The Phoenix Saga was an event in
Yeah.
comic books, so
Mhm.
you can't wrap that event up in 2 hours. You have to have the Shi'ar. You have to have all of the X-Men. You have to have a storyline that makes sense, and it can't just end at 2 hours and 55 minutes. It has to be a plethora of movies.
Well, that's probably why they're starting her with the Phoenix now too, to speed some of that up. You know how in the movies they're not going to show every little thing and every little character. I don't agree, but I
Mhm.
think that's what they're setting up. They're setting her up to be the Dark Phoenix.
And side note, that love story between her and Cyclops is one of the best
Just-
love stories that has ever been written in any medium. You can come fight me. I will snatch you down. But that the lengths of that Cyclops goes to get Jean is it breaks me up. Like the animated series where she sacrifices herself not once but twice, and she comes back and she's like, "I love you, Scott." Like I get chills and I start crying. Like I just watch Big Mama die on Soul Food. It's just something else.
I mean, I agree with you there. It's just I don't care for Scott at all. The character. Yeah, I said.
Uh-oh.
You know,
He's-
like every
he's
time there's
square.
a new declaration, I just get very tight because I'm like, someone's like, I'm just like, oh, this is intense. Like, I don't have a dog in this fight, but
Like, so you're just gasping for the
I'm
drama
just
of it?
I'm like, because like there's like a beat, and then it'll be Courtney. Then it'll be like, I just want to talk to you for a moment, or Nick will be like, we might fight, and it's very intense. I just want to let you know it's a very intense feeling.
I don't know. I don't understand how they're going to do this movie, and I'm still looking at them sideways for how they killed all the minorities and Days of Future Past, not once but twice.
Just don't. Let's just not,
Mm.
because I can't. I don't have the energy nor the strength. I didn't,
I didn't sign
because
up for
because
this.
we're a trope. That's what it is. Minorities are a trope to move the
Yeah.
plot along, especially Black women. But
Oh, absolutely.
but
And how did
anywho,
Bishop die like that? He just blew
listen,
up.
I said this is his power, and this is how you go. Really? This is how
Like,
you
he
gonna
just
take it
blew
out?
up.
Okay.
Like he was a bomb or
It's not even-
Mario.
Not even a dignified death.
Right.
I mean, God,
Just get rid of the darky. Like,
might as well and do it
Ugh.
that
Every
way,
time.
because that's. Ugh.
With
But that is
the
one of my favorite movies. So fight me if you
Hunger
want
Games
to.
did that too.
Stop.
Well,
Yeah,
There were only two of us. There were only two of us in that final movie, and
literally.
I sat there with my mom watching that movie, and when one went, we were like, "There's one." Then 10 minutes
Mhm.
later,
And then there's the other.
There's the other. All right. Well,
Mhm.
if Diana Ross's son can't make it, there's no hope for the rest of
start saying,
Yeah.
didn't we have it all? Didn't we almost have it all?
us. Not even almost.
No, right.
We had no chance,
We
no
had
choice
chance.
in the matter.
Oh,
Uh,
goodness.
But those are my pick, and they'll probably change in like the next 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every time.
Mine have already changed.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
What's that?
I was just
Okay.
saying, like, there's already like 2 or 3 that I'm like, oh, that one was good. and
Yeah.
That one was good. That one's good.
I have a feeling,
think-
Sterling, you're about to pick my other ones.
I'm going to get
And
the
I just have
there's a-
I just have a feeling.
like I said, I lost the original list. I remembered maybe about half of it. I'm going to run through most of them, and I'm going to stop at the last 2. And these are in no particular order. These are just the order I remember them in. Wilson Fisk from the Daredevil TV
Oh
show.
yeah, he's a good one.
I mean, he smashed that dude's head with a door.
With
so,
a car door. What?
Yeah. Cottonmouth from Luke Cage, because he threw a man off the boat.
Stellar.
He did. Yeah.
Yes.
Hot
He's
mouth
great.
was stellar.
Win all
But I
the
kind of
awards.
agreed with him. You know, he was like, well,
See, there's that blurring of morality there.
Right.
That moral ambiguity. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
because that whole speech he had with Mariah, where he was like, "You are no better than me just because you went to these fancy schools." I was like, "You're not wrong, sir.
right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You are not
I
wrong."
put David Robert Jones from Fringe. So those people who watch Fringe remember that guy. He is played by, oh my goodness, I'm forgetting his name. So he's a great actor. He was in Mad Men. It'll come back to me later, but somebody will look it up. Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
Classic.
Mm-hmm.
He even went out cool too.
Yes, he did. Oh my
His-
gosh.
He went out like an absolute G. Like, that is really one of my favorite deaths.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorites.
I didn't even. Confession. I don't watch the show, and I never did. And I knew about his death, and I watched it, and I was like, I don't know who this guy is, but he's amazing, and I need to know everything about him. And so I did, and I still haven't watched the show, but it was great. It was just such a great moment.
Mm-hmm.
Jared Harris. Thank you, guy on YouTube. Jared Harris is the guy who played David Robert Jones on Fringe. Gus Fring, I don't know why his name I keep forgetting, and I almost met him once.
What?
Yes, I wasn't sure that was him. Like, is that him sawing wood? Like, yeah, he seems like the guy who would saw his own wood. And sure enough, later on, people were telling me, like, yeah, he comes in Home Depot every once in a while. He cuts his wood, he buys nails, like a regular person.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. He's amazing.
Amazing man. He's one I would love to meet. I might not know what to say if I met him, but like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been acting forever.
Yeah, he has.
Still getting roles.
Mm-hmm. He's about to be in something else too.
I think it's gonna be an Okja.
Yes, that's what it is. Okja,
and Okja
which I can't wait for.
I cannot.
Oh my
wait.
God!
It looks.
We have to live tweet it.
Yes. Write it in.
It's done.
Write it in pen. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's going to be. It looks beautiful, but he has. I saw his face and I got very excited between him and Bay for Life, Stephen Young. Like I very much. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Fangirling already.
It's a prayer you already know, but.
Gus Fring will be back with Better Call Saul.
I heard that.
I tried watching the show. I think I might come back just to watch his scenes if I can manage it in my schedule, but we'll see. My next fill-in is Smith from the Matrix trilogy.
Oh, yeah. It's a good villain. Villains, it's plural.
Villain. Well,
now,
he's
didn't
still
they
the same
just
guy.
represent the white man? Legitimate question here.
I agree with that. I would agree with that, yes. Because I thought about putting the man on my list, and but that was like
it's a little vague.
But if you had if you had listed Get Out, then that would have worked.
Oh yeah,
yes,
that's true.
It also would have worked for
literally
brother. So,
yeah, all of them.
To this day, if I see somebody drinking tea, I'm snatching them to the ground.
I'm leaving. I'm just leaving. You won't get me.
Not me.
I also included the Borg from Star Trek. So they are on my list. And moving into the top 5. Again, this list keeps changing. So the 5th one I kind of threw in there. That's the last one I had. And that was Zoom from the Flash TV series because he terrified me. And this is
Zoom,
all in black and just had the creepy voice. Again, a name is escaping me of who voiced him as Zoom. But it was terrifying anytime he appeared. And again, he was also kind of pretty unpredictable and was a very foe for the Flash and Team Flash. So,
yeah,
I liked him a lot.
I agree.
Number 4, I put down the Master from Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I liked his. I'm talking about the newer series because I haven't watched the old one, but I know he's been around for a while. He actually played him the first time because he just was crazy and he just really just seemed like he really enjoyed playing that character. And then he became a woman, and it was
beautiful.
It was beautiful. He just had this look. You don't know what she's thinking, what she's going to do next, and like, oh, I already killed them. Sorry. I don't know. I loved it. So that's number 4. Number 3 was Negan. We talked about Negan. It had great length, and
he deserved it.
Number 2, and this guy's been on maybe in the number 2 spot for a very long time, but Benjamin Linus from Lost. He's great villain, and he has a great story arc. Just love the little nuances that he has, and I don't know what's wrong with me tonight. All the actors' names are disappearing from my head, but I just love the way he portrays him. And I even followed him over to the next show he did, Person of Interest, and he became my vest advocate because he always wore a vest. So awesome for him. And my number one villain, and this has been since I was a wee child, so it has nothing to do with portrayals, although it does help. But the number one villain for me is the Joker, because you can make me scared and laugh at the same time, and that's pretty good. So,
Yeah.
Party man,
Like a clown.
party man.
like a
Do they make you
clown.
laugh?
Oh my God, Party Man
It's-
nearly made. Okay, well there goes my night because I'm gonna find that soundtrack. But
Tell you
Yeah.
what his name is.
Joker's always, and it's like that's one of those where it's like everyone should have at least like a top 2 portrayal of Joker, and Heath Ledger better be in one of those spots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It was brilliant.
There's Heath Ledger, there's Jack Nicholson, and
Mhm.
there's
Mark Hamill.
there you go. Thank you, Mark Hamill. I'm telling you, I don't know what's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Emerson.
Jared Leto's not in your list of top Joker.
Never.
What? What?
Good night, y'all. I'm going off.
Well, that's my time.
Play me off.
I can't.
Oh man! Again, we need a villain that will like when he sees him on sight, punch him in the face because like morality says we can't do it, but the villain will be like, "Oh no, he deserves a punch. Well, then let's give him a punch." See,
Let's do
That's
it.
right.
Mhm.
And he was
True.
Joker, like he shot and broke oh my gosh, Barbara Gordon's spine, left her in a wheelchair.
Holy
And
moly.
like he was about that.
Man.
Joker was a thug. Joker was a
Savage.
thug. He was a savage. I was like, he's not that one you want to mess with. And I think he killed one Robin in the comics. But yeah, Joker, and I think it plays on an important part as far as Batman not killing people. Joker always knew that in order for Batman to survive, he had to have a villain, and he knew that Batman was not going to kill him. So I could do whatever I want. I can blow up a city. I can kill kids. I can do this, that, and the third. And I know Batman is not going to kill me.
Right.
But he was also so cunning and like smart with it. I don't know. He was very strategic. That's what I'm looking for. He was very strategic, and just his execution was like, okay, this guy has thought about it. He knows what he's doing, even though he's acting like he's crazy, or maybe he is crazy, but he still is like on a whole different plane, like 3 steps ahead of us. I mean, that's great.
And as Alfred said, some people just like to watch the world burn. So,
Or a huge pile of money if you're looking at that. Oh, that made me so sad. I cried.
I mean, sad girl, because that could have blessed all of us and our families, and we're just burning it. Like, what are you doing? What life are you living?
I know, just like cried to the tune of my student loans. It was
Right.
not.
Because I don't want
Like, Nikki, can you pay these back? Shoot.
Right.
to do whatever I have to do to get to that money. If I have to talk to him, like, hey, before you burn, oh, you're gonna stab me with a pencil, okay?
Right. Like in my face though.
Right.
So,
can I do an honorable mention?
I have one too.
Yes,
I have a ton.
Right. I have honorable mention of Vita Pierce and Mildred Pierce. It was because I love old classic cinema, and Mildred Pierce is one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie. Vita Pierce is played by Anne Blythe, Joan Crawford's daughter in the movie. To put it bluntly, she is a female dog in every aspect. She is vindictive. She goes to a length to blackmail a guy that she was going to marry, tell him that she's pregnant, convince them to pay $10,000, and then tells her mom that, oh, I'm not really pregnant. She also steals her mom's husband, then shoots him, kills him, and then blames it, tries to get away with it with the mom's help. She was a real piece of
Wow.
work. And I encourage everybody to watch that movie. It is one of the best movies that you will ever see. I'm a stand for that movie. It's amazing.
And what was the name of it again?
Mildred Pierce. I think it
Mildred
came out in
Pierce.
1945. She won the Academy Award for it.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm gonna
say
have to
now
look
that
that up tonight.
again, it might be on there. Which I actually last night, as you mentioned, Joan Crawford, I watched whatever happened to Baby Jane last night for the first time.
Great
So
movie. I
I will
can.
also throw Baby Jane, Betty Davis as a villain. So
Betty Davis plays such a good villain. There was another movie, In This Our Life, with Olivia de Havilland, where she steals her sister. Olivia and Betty Davis are sisters. She steals her sister's husband. Then she kills a black kid, blames it. No, she kills a little girl, blames it on the black man that is in the field or whatever. It's those ladies back in the day knew how to play a villain.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was
Absolutely.
my honorable mention.
Courtney, what were your honorable
My
mention?
my honorable mention is Azula from the last Airbender animated series.
Oh
Ooh.
yes.
She is I'm like disappointing myself that I didn't think of her before, but she really is like she's like kind of toe to toe with Negan. Not so much obviously in a kids show it's a little bit, softer around the edges, but she is such a powerful and such a great villain because not only is she a woman or a girl, she's a young woman. I think she's the oldest of the bunch. So she's got to be like 17, 16, something like that. And for her to be commanding armies and for her to almost be her, the Fire Lord's right hand woman who, the
Hmm.
Fire Lord is her father, but for her to be in such the mind frame that she's in, because I feel like she's gotten her um tenacity, if you will, from her dad
Hmm.
Ozai, who's insane, and her grandfather, who's I don't know nothing about him, but I think she's gotten that from them because it's been passed down to her. But for her to have such a grasp of it at such a young age, and for her to do some of the things that she's done already, like, and then her firebending skills are freaking amazing because
Mm-hmm.
she has blue fire. And I
Right.
remember finding out why hers was blue is because her fire comes from a place of anger and it comes from a place of rage, and her fire is blue because it's hotter in
Hmm.
temperature than the average firebender. That's like, what are you doing? It's just amazing. And so just the way that she can also lightning bend, which is rare, and not too many people can do that because you have to reach a certain level of mastery with fire bending to
Mm-hmm.
create lightning out of nowhere. So she's really a great villain. She has some of the best one liners. And then she has a squad of her homegirls, and she like recruits them and like bullies them almost in the most like subtle way to get them to join her, and then they do her bidding for a while. And so it's like, okay, she is one bad mother because she is such a commanding character. She has a presence that you cannot ignore, and she can instill fear into people of any age, of any background, and they do what she says. Period. There's no questions about that.
Yeah.
So
Almost like Mean Power,
almost like what?
Mean Girls, but with powers.
Somewhat. I feel like she's deeper than the Mean Girls though. Like she has a greater purpose outside of high school, and
Right.
Oh,
she
definitely.
and I don't know. I don't really know that she has the same type of purpose as Negan, and that he needs to right the world, and only he can do it. And I don't know that she has that kind of um, agenda, but she knows that she is a leader. I mean, she knows that, and she commands that, and she um, will get you out of the way if you're not going to fall in line. Period. There's no question about that.
You can get
Well, I
right or
take
you
that
can
back.
get left.
Listen, that's a word right there. But she also, I feel like she feel, feels like the Fire Nation is of the highest. What is it? Like they're of the highest order. That she is royalty, Fire Nation for life. And she's trying to see that vision of the Fire Nation ruling over the entire world, and she's about to help carry it out. Crazy.
Yes.
That episode where the ending of the episode where it's the dad, he was crying for his son that he had lost.
Iro.
Oh,
Listen, I
that
cry every time.
episode puts me through it. I,
And then he sings, and then he like lights the candle. I'm like,
oh
okay,
my
Iro,
god,
like,
that's like, how
bro,
dare you? How dare you
bro.
play with my emotions?
And he does it, and it gets me every time.
Every time, just like Rebecca Sugar and everybody at Steven Universe. Just before we got on this, I was crying my eyes out on a random
My
episode.
goodness.
You know what? I'm going to
You can't
send Rebecca my therapy bill.
you can't come into Steven Universe just cold thinking your emotions will be intact.
Right. Oh.
Not to victim blame, but that'll be your fault if you
Right. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Like, where was this when we were growing up?
I know. I have yet to watch it, y'all. I've heard nothing but good about it, though.
It's like you kind of imagine what this world would look like if we did have a Steven Universe growing up. If we had something that normalized all of the things that people fight so ardently against. Like you just look at I almost cussed. You look at Lost Gentleman. Sad Lost Gentleman. It's like, man, if you just had 2 or 3 good episodes Steven Universe when you were like 6, you might not be the troubled soul you are now.
Yeah.
Poor
So
unfortunate soul.
Poor unfortunate. Go ahead.
See?
Make a choice. So
So as we are wrapping up, I do want to talk about the last thing, which I feel like this could be an actual sponsor because I'm doing a giveaway. It's the first ever I tried, and I already tweeted out a link. This link will be live for the next week, but I am giving away 2 copies of this awesome book called The Shape of Ideas. It's here. So this book, it's like a comic book. It's kind of meant for us. I've read it. Courtney's read it, or I think most of it. Most of it, and it's amazing. It's great for like motivational. It's inspirational. It's amazing. I kind of found myself in so many of these comic panels, and I said, you know what, it'd be a great thing if I gave this at least 2 books away to listeners and anyone interested, whether you get it for yourself or you give it to a friend, somebody you know that's a creative. There's a link that's live. I tweeted it. I actually see it being other people entering already. And in a week from now, and I think May 31st, June 1st, that's when I guess the winners will be announced. I have no pick in the winners, so I don't know exactly how you enter. If you can enter more than once, I think you can only enter once. But go for that. Go enter. The link will be in show notes. I will tweet the link a couple more times. It'll be around so you can enter. Highly recommend this book. You want to say anything on it, Courtney?
Well, just to second what you said, excuse me, there are several. I mean, it's a very creative way to talk directly to creatives and to portray the idea of creativity. I feel like I'm not doing it justice by just saying that, but it's just such a unique and different way to talk about all things creativity related, talking about the process and the woes that you go through, and it's really neat, and it's so easy to digest because of how it's presented in the comic book style. It's almost like, I remember talking to you, Sterling, about it. It's almost as if each page or each panel is kind of its own like standalone story, but they all contribute to the overarching theme of creativity or inspiration or perspiration or whatever have you is, is the chapter that it's in. So it's just a really neat book. It's very inspiring. It's it's just great, and I encourage you to enter into the drawing for it because it's a great find. It really is.
And it's by Grant Snyder. So that's also the author or cartoonist's name. So go check that out. And once again, I want to thank everyone here, Shannon and Nick, both for joining me for this fantastic episode of Villainy, which I'm pretty sure we could keep going, but it's like, oh no, that's the time I bought it. And if you have any quick shout outs, you can, Shannon, I'll start with you. If you want to shout out anything and have people follow all the things, what do you got?
Yeah, quick shout out to Reverb from The Flash, Maya Pope from Scandal, and Willem from RuPaul's Drag Race, who were my honorable mentions for. I'm so sorry that I didn't mention you guys, but yeah, I love all three of those characters so much. A huge shout out to my amazing co-hosts, CG, Lauren, and Mel, who stand with me to create such a meaningful part of my life. And anyone who is a listener of Nerds of Prey, we could not be where we are without you. So shout out to you guys. We absolutely love our listeners. And yeah, just a huge shout out to you all. You can find me on oh, I almost forgot my Twitter name. Isn't that funny?
Oh my
considering
gosh.
that I live on Twitter. At funky with a PH, at funky_Brewster. You can find Nerds Prey at Nerds Prey Cast. We do have an website that I need to update soon, nerdspraypodcast.com. You can email us at nerdspraypodcast@gmail.com and check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Nerds of Prey.
Cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Nick?
Let's see. I want to do a special shout out to my co-host Victor, aka Wonderman5 on Twitter. Who else? To Louis Tan. Hi, Louis.
Hey, Louis. I second that shout out.
I mean, you can't just leave and not say hi to Louis Tan.
Right. And also, I want to do a shout out to Nino Bonino Brown for knowing the lyrics to Greedy.
You know,
Sorry about it.
Good job being a professional. Awesome.
Right. Listen, we'll be here another 30 minutes because I can go in on what happened on Drag Race. But, I'll let the girls sleep tonight. You can find me on Twitter being unruly at Porter Pizzazz.
25-8, y'all. 25-8.
Yes.
I mean, how can I not? If I couldn't be unruly, then what would I be?
Like, what's the point of it all, right?
Right. Like Anthony Hamilton, the point of it all.
That is not what he meant.
That's not what he meant, though, but that's okay.
But y'all just gonna let it slide for tonight. You can find Mega Sheen. And Mega Sheen, we're just trying to have a voice for queer Black people that I don't think has existed in the podcasting space.
Mm-hmm. Doing an excellent job, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. You can find us at Mega Sheen Pod and Mega Sheen. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. You go to our website, themegasheen.com. What else? Yeah, that's me. That's all of us. Just trying to make a difference in these troubling and more than nervous times that we live in.
Listen, thank you for being a light.
Yes, every little bit helps. Every little tweet, every little, not even little podcast episode, because all of you have such wonderful podcasts.
Yes.
Same to you, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Man.
Do I get
And
shout
Courtney,
outs? Okay. Shoot, I thought you were wrapping up. I was like, wait, I'm still here. So y'all can find me also on the Twitters. My personal account is at I am K Hinton, where I tweet about some of everything. I mean, shenanigans abound. So nerddom and blackness and womanhood and feminism and cartoons and I mean knitting, everything. You can find it there. Um, you can also find me tweeting up a storm. Um, with my Verve House Collective account, which is at Verve HC. That's a place for audacious creatives, entrepreneurs, and intention seekers. And so you'll find lots of motivational things and quotes and actionable steps to be creative every day, to act with intention every single day. And I also have a podcast, the Get Verved podcast, which is now on iTunes, thanks to Sterling. And so we'll be picking up new episodes. There are a few now, so you have a little bit of time to kind of catch up because I know how it is when you have tons and tons of podcasts that you're listening to and you need to catch up. So you have time to do that before we launch some more episodes, which are coming soon down the pipeline. So yeah, hit me up at either place and we'll have some fun.
fantastic. Now, I will make this quick. I want to do a very special shout out and thank you. And she doesn't know I'm about to do this, but thank you so much, Courtney, because about 2 years ago, I would say maybe around this time, you actually did encourage me to continue this podcast. And I only had maybe like 4 episodes at the time. And I had a story to tell. So you told me to tell that story. And then I think you ended up on the podcast, either an episode.
Yeah. You're
Some of us
welcome.
became the co-host and continued to motivate me and push me to be better. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And
We just had a moment. Oh.
So nice.
and 3/4. But yes, she's an excellent person, excellent human being, and makes Earth that much more better. So thank you. I do also want to. I was trying to think if I had any more honorable mentions that I forgot, but I don't. No more villains. I do have a hero shout out since everyone else had their shout outs to Pete, Nicole Bahari. Bahari?
Woo.
I'm not sure. Abby
Yes.
deserves better. And yeah, shout out to her because she's amazing.
Forever.
And forever and ever. Let me see. I've got one little bit here. I just gotta get my little music player together as I get ready to. I do want to thank everybody for listening, and yeah, maybe this will happen again sometime, and I'll definitely be able to let everybody know when that happens.
Yeah,
But that does it.
shout out to the folks in the chat room as well who were chatting with us the whole time. That was a lot of fun. Added a whole different dimension and element to it, and you guys looked up names for the actors that we could not remember. So thank you for that. You rock for that.
Yeah. Next time I'll learn to multitask and
Yeah,
actually jump in the chat myself, but it looked very lively. So
it was.
it's like, oh, there'll be some slow typing. So I'm just
I know, pecking and stuff.
Well, that does it for another episode of the Indoob Podcast. If you'd like to officially join the podcast or the Indoob Nation, please support the Indoob Patreon and get some awesome perks, pics, videos, and extended episodes from this podcast and others I produce. Also, please rate, review, and share the pod on iTunes, Google Play, Podbean, or however you listen. You can find me at indoob.com and follow me at indoob on Twitter, Instagram, and all of the things. Thank you so much for supporting, listening, stopping by, and pressing play. I've been your benevolent host, T. Sterling Watson. And remember, if the world didn't suck, we'd all fall off.
yay.
No.
And yes, this is the SNL closing thing.
I thought so. I was like, is this like copyright infringement? Can we actually use this?
Yay. Okay.